guys, thank you so much for joining us for another episode, another mini-sode of the Failure Report. I have decided to produce these mini-sodes because I realized that although I have such an amazing time interviewing amazing entrepreneurs and intrapreneurs about their professional failures, I would really love for you guys to know the story of how I got here. Why? And did I feel as if it was so important for entrepreneurs to see others fail as an opportunity to understand that they're not alone? And I know that the idea to start the Failure Report came from my feeling of just feeling alone. I remember the first time that I would consider myself as a professional failure. I had started my first job right outside of college, and I was working for a politician, and I started my professional career in politics. And the first gentleman that I worked for, he lost. And I remember working so hard at his campaign. I mean, countless days, nights. I traditionally was a campaign manager. So to manage a full campaign, to fundraise, to organize, to find volunteers, to put out yard signs in the middle of the night, to help voters to get to the polls, and to just lose was absolutely heartbreaking. And it is so interesting how I now can see how failures are for you, and they're for your good, and for your benefit. But of course, then I was just devastated. I didn't know what to do with myself. And it was so interesting because a short while later, I got the opportunity to work with that same gentleman again. He went on to run for Senate and won. And from that opportunity, I worked for a city councilman. He also won, and it catapulted me into a 13-year run of being a political manager and strategist. And it's just so interesting though, because I knew then all of life's lessons came so full circle, right? So when you fail and when you truly have reached a point of not being able to win or succeed or to obtain the thing that you want, is whenever you can really start taking some tough notes. And what I had to realize, and I just wanted to touch on briefly, is how do you know when you failed? You know what I mean? How do you know when this is a failure that is not going to come full circle? And my honest answer, this is a question I get all the time, is that you have to know when to call it a failure. You have to know when to close that chapter, but you have to be able to just leave that page cracked a little bit, to say, although I'm failed, although I admit it, although it didn't turn out the way that I wanted it to, I know that this failure is going to turn into another opportunity. So let me keep the pages cracked so I can reference it on what not to do the next time. So just like in politics, after that first loss, whenever it was time to run again, I knew exactly what not to do. I knew, even though it was so hard to be able to identify the things that we did wrong because we did so many amazing things right, it was about timing. It was about placement. It was about speeches. It was that time that you took off that one day and you didn't go to do that one event. I knew then, go to the event, you do it twice, be there early, leave late, because you can see some of the spaces and some of the areas that you fell short, and how some of those shortcomings really were the catalyst or were a component, or maybe they had absolutely nothing to do with your failure. Maybe the failure, the setback happened honestly because it wasn't meant to be, which is the hardest one, I think, to deal with, is that sometimes in business, the opportunity is just not meant to be. I will never forget having the opportunity to work with an amazing nonprofit organization. And it was my first kind of dabble in the nonprofit world. At that time, I was really young and I felt like I knew everything there was to know about business. Here I am 16 years later, and I'm sure some of you all are saying, and you still don't know everything, right? And I love that fact. But then, I thought I knew it all. And, I'm putting in my proposal and I'm turning in all of my things and I have my packets. And this is a government proposal to work with this large nonprofit. And had all of my things. I was super excited and ready to go. I was honestly mortified whenever they decided to go with another company because I had done the work. So then I started calling them. Then I started sending them messages. Then I started trying to figure out why you would say no to me and potentially yes to someone else. And I had to know when to just leave that opportunity alone. Like, it was not for you, not right now. Because what was interesting is that I learned a lot from that situation. I learned a lot from that very tough no. And that tough no turned into a lot of yeses after that. I was able to just leave that book cracked a little bit, see the things that I did wrong, make those corrections, and then to be able to I was able to level up after that. You guys, I appreciate you guys taking a second to listen to this Minisode of the Failure Report and understand more about why love failures happen for you and happen absolutely for your good. I would love for you guys to like, share, and subscribe to this video if you want more content. Of course, you can be able to click another video that will be following this, or you can subscribe below. I also want to leave links to some of the individuals that I have worked for. There's some amazing individuals that are out there that are doing such good in our community and that are making our world a safer place for you and I to live in their own spheres. So I'm going to make sure and link some of those nonprofits below, especially some of the politicians too, but the nonprofits below that I've had the pleasure of working with, so that you guys can like, share, and follow them too. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today, and I can't wait to see you next time on another Minisode of the Failure Report.